Welcome. This is an introductory presentation on how to implement IPSAS with ExpressBook PSA. ExpressBook PSA is IPSAS-compliant accounting and budgeting software. Now, before we can talk about software for IPSAS implementation, it is quite important for us to understand what IPSAS is. Some of the problem we encounter with solution we provide is because we jump into the problem with the solution without first understanding the nature of the problem and the root cause of the problem. So we need to understand IPSAS itself. We need to understand the environment under which IPSAS is to be implemented before we can talk of the solution or know the type of software that can meet that environment, meet the requirement of that environment. Now the question, what is IPSAS? Might sound like a trite. For we all know that IPSAS is International Public Sector Accounting Standard. This is a set of global standards promulgated by the International Public Sector Accounting Standard Board for use by public sector entities all over the world. IPSAS prescribes policy for the classification, recognition, measurement, and presentation of financial information in the public sector. The goal of IPSAS-SB, the body administering IPSAS, is to ensure accountability, transparency, comparability of financial information in the public sector. Although IPSAS is a global standard, the board has made provision for each jurisdiction adopting IPSAS to do what we call domestication of IPSAS. The domestication of IPSAS is, however, limited to the presentation and the classification layer of IPSAS. So in other words, each jurisdiction can decide on how to classify its account. It can also decide on how to present the information to the public. So the outcome of that domestication in Nigeria is the National Chart of Account and the General Purpose Financial Statement template, which the Office of Accountant General has put forward for all the public sector entities in Nigeria to use in their IPSAS implementation. We'll say more about the National Chart of Accounts in this presentation and the future presentation that I'm going to cover in this series. When people say, I'm implementing IPSAS or we have implemented IPSAS, what exactly does that mean? There is what I call IPSAS implementation framework. The first thing to consider for IPSAS compliance is the accounting policies. Accounting rules and principles remain the same. IPSAS does not change those rules. Accounting methods, which include classification, recognition, measurement, and presentation, is a standard process in accounting. IPSAS does not change that either. What IPSAS does is that it prescribes uniform accounting policy and criteria for each of these methods, most especially recognition and measurement. You take, for instance, under accounting, we know that when we sell a product or service, we must recognize revenue. But IPSAS says, before you recognize that revenue, there must be some condition to be met. In other words, IPSAS prescribes the requirement, the criteria, the caveat that is needed to implement these methods. So the next layer in the implementation framework is the domestication. Domestication is all about taking the classification and the presentation layer and customizing it for the requirement of the local jurisdiction where IPSAS is implemented. It also takes care of custom policy that the government has put in place. As I said earlier, the result of that customization or domestication is the National Chart of Account, the IPSAS National Chart of Account. Now, when we talk of a software being IPSAS compliant, what we mean is that the software should be able to automate all the policies of IPSAS. All the rules of accounting must be complied with, and the domestication requirement of each jurisdiction must be automated. That is the role of IPSAS. Of IPSAS accounting software. So the IPSAS accounting software tie all these things together seamlessly and deliver it as a package, automated package. If the software cannot do all these three things, then it cannot be said to be IPSAS compliant. Generally, most software do the first one and the second one. The first one, which is this and this. And sometimes they do the second one. But the third one is crucial, because without the third one, you cannot deliver IPSAS implementation in any jurisdiction. So we need to pay attention to IPSAS domestication requirement. The National Chart of Account is the document that prescribes the domestication requirement for Nigeria. And that National Chart of Account contained 6 segments. These are administrative, economic, function, funds to program, and geographic location segment. Each of these segments enables the aggregation of the accounting financial data and information in a way that gives clarity on how the money is spent and how they are, where they come from. So the most important thing here is that whatever you want to do must flow from the National Chart of Accounts. The Office of Accountant General of the Federation has taken a lot of effort into producing this National Chart of Accounts. If you see on the right here, you can see that you have this economic segment of the National Chart of Accounts anyway. It's the most important part of the National Chart of Accounts. You can see the quota here. The first column is for the federal government. The second column is for state government, and then the next one is for the local government. So each of the 3 tiers of government have entries in the National Chart of Account. And it's expected that each of these tiers of government must adhere strictly to the National Chart of Account for the goal of IPSAS to be realized, the goal of being able to compare information across public sector entities. Because if they are not using the same chart of account, that comparability criteria cannot be met. So let's look at the timeline for Nigeria's journey in the implementation of IPSAS. We know the federal government approved the Nigerians' adoption of IPSAS on July 28, 2010, along with the IFRS. Implementation of IFRS took off in earnest in 2011, and it was completed in 2013, smoothly and swiftly, without any defaults. However, the commencement of IPSAS in Nigeria started with the cash-based IPSAS in January 2013, and then as of 2016, Nigeria had commenced implementation of the accrual IPSAS. Today, as I'm presenting this is September 18, 2025. By next year, Nigeria will have been 10 years into the implementation of accrual IPSAS. If we add the 3 years of cash-based implementation, then we have 13 solid years since Nigeria started IPSAS implementation. Now, what is the journey so far? You see, if I'm to score Nigeria on a scale of 1 to 10 on what it has been done so far, I will give Nigeria 3/10. The thing is this: When IFRS was being implemented, there was something that was going on. There were regulators that insisted on the implementation of IFRS for private sectors. So these regulators prescribed penalty for those who default. And at the end of the day, there was almost like 90% compliance among the private sector entities. But with the listed companies, the quoted companies, the compliance was 100%. So, but why is implementation of IPSAS so abysmally low? Well, that's what we'll look at in the next slide. What are the challenges that confront Nigeria implementation of IPSAS? The first one is lack of legislative mandate. There is no law right now backing up Nigeria adoption of IPSAS. The next thing is lack of executive will. Let's leave the legislative mandate aside. With or without legislative mandate, the executive can always implement any policy that they feel is necessary. Because even if there is legislation on IPSAS, it is still the executive that will implement it. So if they don't have the will to implement it, there is nothing the law can do. Sadly, the situation is that the government has the power to implement IPSAS, to compare public sector entities to implement IPSAS, simply by the fact that all the allocation that goes to the state, local government, MDAs come from the central government, from the Office of Accountant General. The government can simply say, well, the condition for you to get the allocation released to you is you filing your returns. Although that may be a constitutional issue when it comes to the state government, but for the MDA under federal government, there is no constitutional problem issue involved. The government has a right to say that every MDA must comply with IPSAS. The thing is that we talk a lot about accountability, fighting corruption and all that. But here is the tool that will have helped the country in its fight against corruption. But that tool has been neglected right from the time of the previous government, because this thing was signed when Jonathan was in power, but soon after that he left and then a new government came in. IPSAS has never been a priority, despite the fight against corruption. I must, however, say that IPSAS will not stop corruption automatically. But one thing IPSAS is going to do is that it will make the stealing of money also come with a premium. In other words, those that will be able to steal will be those who are very smart. Because the truth is, IPSAS will not stop you from recording whatever you want to record. But what it does is that it makes it difficult for people to just wake up and tell us one big story that, a python came and steal money, or is it a chimpanzee the other time that came and stole money, or termite. So all those things will not come up because the system will have already kept the record of everything that you're doing. But one other thing, people who feel that IPSAS will not allow them to steal money, it doesn't make sense, because in the real sense, it will make them to steal even in a more clever way. You see, when the EFCC comes to your office and they demand some papers and all that, and all you have is just a stack of files and all that and vouchers, it starts raising suspicion. It makes them feel that, there must be something to dig out and find out here and all that. But if you keep accurate accounting record of what you're doing, and as soon as the EFCC comes, you put them through you give them the copy of print your statement, immediately print your statement of account and all that and present it to them. And then the paperwork, they look at it and see that things are going on clean there. Everything looks clean and all that. By the time they check one or two things, they will give us it. Okay, find transport for us or something like that. And you see, we look at the banks when they send us financial alert and all that. We feel everything is correct. Why do we feel so? Because we believe that the bank is doing the right thing because they use computer, they use software to do that. But sometimes there are errors and nobody cares to check. That is the kind of false confidence that using computer can impose. It may make the people feel that, well, you are quite in order because you use computer, then it must be accurate. Another thing, this problem of lack of executive will has created is that it has also created a lot of additional costs for auditing. I've seen where auditors go. First, they are given a stack of piles of files to go through to extract the information, to cross-check and all that. I mean, something that is supposed to take maybe a few days to do, you find out auditors stuck there for weeks trying to audit an account. Well, I'm happy to tell you that I was in one of the MDA where we implemented this system, and the auditors came, and what we did was to connect them to the server and give them temporary password to access the system and do their audit online, live. And they did it and they finished the work. They were supposed to spend like 2 weeks, but they did it. They did under 1 week. They left. If not that, they had to wait to see a few things done. Otherwise, they could have finished it in 2 days. So these are some of the things that not implementing IPSAS has done to the country. Now, the second thing is technical challenges. Technical challenges in the area of manpower, that is capacity development. Again, this is where people are taking training as just, it's about making money, collecting extra code and all that. People don't go for training with the mindset of learning serious skill to come and apply in the office. The focus is more on what they get from the training. The other aspect of technical challenge is the use of appropriate software, the right software to do IPSAS. And again, this the influence of Nigerian factor, which is the next item, is part of the reason we are having technical challenges in this area. So the Nigerian factor manifests in so many ways. It manifests in the way software are procured, is procured, and then you see, people don't buy software because it's the best software, or they have tested it, or they have done presentation and it meet their need. No, they don't do that. What most people do is to award contract to those who are close to those in authority and power. So that makes it difficult for people to have access to the right tool, the right software to do the job. Now, all these things I'm talking about is boiled down to one thing: lack of executive will. That is the number one issue that we need to address. Now, I'll tell you a little story. In 2004, I was invited to do a job for Delta State Direct Labor Agency in Asaba. When I got there, the DG of the agency, Surveyor Terry Noah, sat down with me in his office and first of all explained to me the challenges as he's been having with the accounting system the running. So one of those things was him signing some papers that he doesn't even know whether he has signed it before, that he discovered that later that he signed some 3 times without knowing that he has signed this thing before. It come back in different format. So that was one of the problems. He told me many other things that he needed a system to help him do. So I took down those things, came back to Lagos and sat down and customized the system we already had, which is ExpressBook. Customized it for him, put all those things together, and then went back and presented it to him. And he was very, very happy about the results. So he now invited all his executive staffs, the senior staff, for training, which he arranged. So I trained them for about a week on the customized version of ExpressBook that I did for them. So at the end of the day, they all mastered it, and It was now time for him to arrange for training for staff of the account department. So on the day of the training, he came to address them and told them, look, you see, this is a new way we are going. This system has come to stay as a standard way of doing things here. Anyone that wants to belong to this agency must master this software. If you don't master this software, it means that you don't have a future with us. You don't have anything to do here in the future. So that was all he said. And at the end of the day, everybody was so serious about knowing this software. At the end of the day, it was like competition. Everybody knew the software. Even after I went back to Lagos, some people paid their way to Lagos at their own expense to come and learn more to master the software. You see, today I'm talking to you in 2025, September 2025. Up till today, that software that I installed for them in 2004 is still running. They are still using it. Despite the fact that this is when I even started. I mean, I wasn't yet good in the business of building accounting software. At that rudimentary level I was, they are still using that software, it's still serving them. That is because the authority, the guy on top, insisted that this software, this culture must come to stay. And because of that, he embedded that culture in the system. And even after he left, many years after he left, that culture is still there. So this is what we need in the public sector. Somebody on top, somebody must agree that, look, this is where we want to go. Once the culture is embedded in the system, it is difficult to obliterate it. But because we don't take time to embed any culture, nothing, policies come, we run after it, all the the fury, the excitement and all that will come. At the end of the day, because it was not embedded in the system, it fizzled out. When IPSAS started, look at the number of people that went for training. Look at the workshop all over the country, all the noise and all that. It was like a jamboree. And as soon as that was over, everybody just relaxed. That wasn't IPSAS implementation. It was preparation for the implementation of IPSAS. So unless the executive seize the opportunity to embed this system in the culture of the system of the Nigerian accounting, public sector accounting, IPSAS would still be a name, slogan, and all that. People will still be using it to make money and all that and call it IPSAS. So this is where the real problem is. The legislative will the executive will to implement this thing. That must be brought back. The power is there with the government to implement IPSAS, to enforce IPSAS implementation or compliance in the country, across the country. They have that will. But why they don't want to use it, I do not understand. So the next thing you look at is ExpressBook PSA itself. See, this is the accounting software we have taken time to build. We did not build it alone. We worked with the Office of Accountant General in 2015 to fine-tune it with the test everything along with the National Charter of Account. In fact, it was this software that we used to discover some serious errors that were in the National Charter of Account, and we pointed it out and they corrected some of them. So this is a software that was built right from the onset to implement IPSAS in Nigeria, because our first attempt when the IPSAS came up was, well, let's just look for software somewhere in the world and represent that country in Nigeria. Because from my experience when I started software, it was more profitable to sell software for foreign companies in Nigeria than to build your own software. Those who were selling software for other companies abroad, they were making more money than those of us who were trying to build one. So my first instinct when IPSAS started was to look for software somewhere in the world I can use to implement IPSAS in Nigeria and be their representative, their agent. But I couldn't find such software. I couldn't find any. So at the end of the day, we decided, okay, let's build one. And that's how we came out with the ExpressBook PSA. It is fully customized to implement IPSAS in Nigeria. It's available in standard and professional editions. Each of these editions are customized to meet the requirements of federal, state, and local government public sector entities. And we have painstakingly deployed some of these in the software in a few MDAs and public sector entities. One of the things one may ask is, if you go online and type public sector accounting software in Nigeria, you see that ExpressBook PSA comes up on top. You might wonder, why are we not everywhere? Why is the software not everywhere? This is the truth about the situation. Things in Nigeria do not happen because you have the best product. Things happen because you know the right person. We don't know the right people. We have been too busy building software. And as a result, we get to a point that we fail. What should we do? So there are challenges there. Those are the Nigerian factor that is also mitigating, working against us. So now, what is this about ExpressBook? What is the advantage? People say accounting software is accounting software. Not quite so. There are accounting software and there are accounting software. There are general things every accounting software does, but there are some special things that they can do. So that is how it is with ExpressBook. First, as I've said, ExpressBook is built to implement Nigerian domestication requirement policy for IPSAS. It complies 100% with national charter account, and it produces the general purpose financial statement based on the template provided by the Office of Accountant General of the Federation. We've also provided tools that go beyond conventional accounting based on the needs of the changes of the system we are in. We know, for instance, our capital project monitoring and accounting system tool enables you to monitor capital project from beginning to completion with all the detailed information you might need to know about that project. We also have bid evaluation management, which is procurement can always use to manage its bids online, and then from the bidding process through to evaluation and then awarding the contract, and then service level agreement. So we can easily customize the system to meet any special need of any jurisdiction, any public sector entity. We've done that when we see that, there are things that are special in a particular place. We incorporate that into the system and seamlessly, and the work goes on. ExpressBook PSA, again, is flexible and easy to use. See, this is another thing that we need to understand. When people write software abroad, they are not writing it for your level of thinking of their level of computer awareness or education. They are writing it based on their own understanding of things. So sometimes we bring this software into the country and people have problems using them. And even when they go on training and all kinds of things, it still creates bottlenecks on how to effectively utilize all the features of this software. Because some of these software from abroad, they come with features that you will not ever need, but you pay for them and they are not ever used. So this software is designed with just the features that are necessary for the implementation of IPSAS in Nigeria. And as the need arises to add new features, we add them for those who need those features, without compromising on quality. And because it is designed and built in Nigeria and supported by Nigerians, the cost is everything is in Naira, so there is no foreign currency involvement. However, if we have to host it on the cloud, there might be some dollar payment to be made annually to keep the system in the cloud. The present version of ExpressBook PSA is what I say account-centric. It's more tailored towards accounting than budgeting. There's the budget tool is there. The budget tool there is for you to enter your budget into the system, manage your budget, and produce the report. But what we are looking at again is the one that is budget-centric. In the case of budget-centric, we are going to provide additional tools that enable the budget office to centrally manage and minister the budget. So we provide those tools on top of the features already here. Everything as you see in ExpressBook PSA will still be there, but those additional budget tools will enable the budget office to manage the budget effectively. Now, this is where we end the introductory part of this presentation. But before we go, I want to let you know that we have a lot of tools online, a kind of knowledge-based system site we have built to provide you with information that can help you in your study and understanding of IPSAS generally. So the first place we'll always advise you to go is to our blog post gallery. There you're going to find a lot of professionally well-written and researched blog posts that can help you to understand IPSAS. So here, for instance, we talk about the National Chart of Account. But we have two blog posts here. One is understanding the IPSAS National Chart of Account. The other one is IPSAS National Chart of Account, implementation and maintenance issues and challenges. So if you go here, for instance, you will see that you have a lot of information that will enhance your understanding and knowledge of the system. The composition of national chart of account, economic segment, we have talked about that. So you can see the explanation for each of these segments. And then the schematic for how these segments are connected into the system with each other in budget and financials. So this is the tool that you can use to go deeper into that deepen your understanding of IPSAS. You can also, there's the latest blog post here, IPSAS budget presentation and management, practical implementation issues and challenges. So you go here, you will see that there is a whole lot of practical and theoretical information on budgeting. You understand the difference between cash-based budget and the accrual-based budget. And from this post, detail enough that you will also see why the challenge Nigeria is facing in this implementation of budget, why Nigeria is operating two or more budgets simultaneously, concurrently in the same accounting period. You will now know where that problem comes from and how that problem can be resolved. Again, we keep saying that because of lack of executive will, problems occur that could never have occurred if IPSAS was fully implemented and embedded in the system. So you can also avail yourself of other resources on this website. We have quite a lot. There are many other application software that you can make use of. Other things that might be relevant to you, we have publication. You can go to Spectra Books and Publication and you see that we have some books that we have published. This one is IPSAS Implementation and the System Challenge, the Nigerian Experience. It's very detailed. It's a practical case study of what we have learned in our implementation of IPSAS across Nigeria. And then we also have this one, IFRS Accounting and Finance for Real Estate. So this one is for IFRS Real Estate. So we have more books that are available on Amazon, and we'll bring them here later as well as time goes. So this is the situation at the moment, and we appreciate your time, and we urge you to visit our website whenever the need arises, and then call on us when you need our service. We are for IPSAS implementation, we are for IFRS and anything accounting. We also provide template for problem solving, the algorithm that will enable you understand your problem, because one of the things we have found out is that people do not study problem in a way that show the root of the problem before they solve them. Sometimes we just think of the problem and then the next thing is solution. It is more than that. There is a scientific way of studying analyzing problem before you implement the solution. So that is one of the services we are very good at: problem analysis and solution algorithm. So thank you very much. We look forward to having you and doing business with you.